Alright, hey guys, today we are going to practice measuring to the nearest eighth of an inch. But before we do that, let's take a look at your ruler. The ruler you're going to be using has 4 different scales. If you look here, we have our eighth of an inch, which you should primarily be using for this activity. But you also have your nearest 16th of an inch, a little more precise. You have more spaces in between each inch mark. You can see here 0, 1, 2, those are your inches. In between you have 16ths of an inch. Those are your smallest marks on each one. Looking at the other side, we have not as precise. You have your nearest quarter of an inch. If you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in between. A quarter of an inch breaks it up into a fraction. There's 4 equal parts within your quarter of an inch. Just like with your eighth of an inch, there's 8 equal parts. And your 16th of an inch, you'll have 16 equal parts. And finally, the last scale on your ruler, we have your centimeter scale. Each numbered tick mark is a centimeter, but if you look in between, you have an even more precise measurement, which is your millimeter. And actually what you're going to be using a little bit later on in this activity. There are 10 millimeters within a centimeter. So again, a fraction. It breaks up into 10 equal parts. So let's get back to that eighth of an inch that I want you to use first. We have our 12-inch ruler. In between each inch, you have 8 spaces, hence the eighth inch. So let's take a look and measure this first line here. When I measure here, I want to line up the end of my line with the 0, not the end of the ruler. Start with the 0. And if I look here, I measure, I have 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, but it goes beyond that. Now I'm looking at my eighths. I have 1, 2, 3 eighths. So when I'm measuring this, I would say that this is 3 3/8 inches. Okay, moving on. Again, I line up with the 0. I go to the end. There we go. I have 6 full inches, but then I have a fraction of an inch. It goes here, and if you look here, it's actually halfway between. So I could say that this is 6 1/2 inches, which is also equal, if I'm measuring to the nearest eighth, is 6 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you remember from our work with fractions, 1/2 is equal to 4/8, or 4/8 is equal to 1/2. Our next one, we're going to do something a little different, because you might see this on an activity or a test. We're actually going to start our ruler with, we're going to start measuring right at the 2-inch line, which is okay. They're still inches. They're all uniform measurement. So we say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full inches. Even though this says 7, we start at 2, so it's actually 5 full inches. I write that here. And then we go 1 2/8. And anybody know? Equal to what? 5 1/4, if we talk about equal fractions, or equivalent fractions, excuse me. Now the last thing I want to do is just quickly draw a line for you. My measurement is going to be 4 7/8. And if you look here, we know that 8/8 would equal 1, so that'd be another full inch. So we know it's going to be really close to 5. So let's go ahead and start here. Make a little mark there. I know it's got to be 4 full inches, so I'm going to put that there. I'm just going to go ahead and draw that line first. You can see there I've got 4 full inches, and now I'm going to go 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the very last tick mark. But I can't go all the way to 5 because it's not 5 full inches. All right? You're going to have an activity to practice doing this in just a minute. Now let's move on to millimeters real quick. I already showed you the millimeter scale. It's on the other side. And it actually will be labeled as cm, centimeters. But we know that from what I told you earlier, there are millimeters, 10 millimeters in between each centimeter. So again, I line it up with 0, just like when we do with inches. Make sure I'm lined up nicely there. And I'm looking here. I know it's 8 full centimeters. So 8 times 10, I know, is 80 millimeters. So there are 10 in between each one. And then it's 1, 2, looks like about, I'll say 2 more millimeters. So I know it's 82 millimeters. So don't forget, 10 and then 2 more. Or multiply by 10 and then 2 more. Here, I'm going all the way up, it looks like to 12. So I know that is 120 millimeters. But then I'm going halfway between 12 and 13, so I know that's another 5. Half of 10 is 5. So it's going to be 125 millimeters. Next, I'm going to do that thing again. Sometimes this is going to happen. You're going to start at a different point on the ruler. Here I'm starting at 2, so I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters, or close to 5 centimeters actually. Didn't quite get to the 7, so I know it's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, and then it looks like almost all of them. So it's about 49 millimeters, or yeah, that's about it. Let's move on. One more thing, 94 millimeters. I want to actually measure that out. So I know that I start at 0. I know it's going to be 90 or 9 centimeters, or whoops, excuse me, 90 millimeters, and then just another 1, 2, 3, 4 right before the half. I put another mark. There it is, 94 millimeters. All right, guys, I hope this helped. Good luck.